This is a to Z TSOP independent BIOS with the 500 gigabytes SATA hard drive. Hi and welcome to my TSOP video. On the video I'm going to show you how to TSOP your soft mod. So before we begin, I'm just going to tell you what we're going to need for this TSOP mod for the original Xbox. We're going to need a SATA to IDE converter, some Torx 10, 15 and 20, and I'm gonna do it with Western Digital 500 gigabytes from this model. So for the SATA to IDE adapter, mostly what I'm gonna use is this one here. You can see here there's the pin for master and slave, the two capacitor, and if you flip it the other side, yeah, this is the capacitor you're gonna see. This is gonna be, no, this is the same one. And okay, they don't show the side of the SATA, but mostly if you can see those two capacitor with there's two pins for master and slave, you're gonna be fine. They are cheap ones. Some people say they have problems when they order it. Some don't work when they try it. Up to now, I am happy with it. I have no problem at all. The other one, pretty similar. It's King Win. The capacitor are smaller, and the pins for master and slave are in a different place. But a lot of people recommend to use this one, and I think they come with this protective adhesive, and it's really worth it because you're gonna need to do that to protect your adapter from getting into your HDD and do some short circuit. So I'm doing it another way, but yeah, just keep in mind it's very, very important to do that. And the other one, people say it's flawless. It's the StarTech IDE to SAT2. It's a bit more expensive, but people say it's better loading time, and they are always good to work with. There's no problem at all. So yeah, the StarTech. Next, what you're gonna need, it's make sure to have IDE cable with 80 conductors, like this one here, compared to the one in the original Xbox, which is 40 wire on it. This is gonna help for loading time and stabilize the hard drive with the Xbox. It's you have to buy this one for sure. I use regular ones. I know how to fold it and then make it work inside my box. But if you can buy some 24-inch long, it's gonna be way easier to fit it inside the box. And yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna start this video right now. Thank you. And I try to go for a big HDD. So I made some tests this week. Some information is missing, or I don't understand it right, because like you see, English is not my first language. But try to figure it out the best way I can. I'm an electronic technician in life, so I'm kind of used to this, and I'm not from the type of guy who say I can do it. I can't do it, because if you can't do it, you're never gonna be able to do it, that's for sure. If you try, at least you try. And I'm gonna try to explain it the best way I can. So right now I have my original Xbox video. TSOP solder points. In original Xbox you have 6 versions. Version 1.0 to 1.5, which you can flash the BIOS inside the motherboard of the Xbox. And version 1.6 you can only have a different BIOS if you put a mod chip in. So this video is going to be mostly for 1.0 up to 1.5. So here we go. We're gonna check this out. So version 1.0 to 1.1, you're gonna have different BIOS chip, like also for 1.2 up to 1.5. 1.1 and 1.0, well, if I recall it right, you're gonna have bigger BIOS bank. So like I said before, make sure to follow up next video I'm gonna come out with, because I'm gonna continue the same thing but up to installing everything on a big HDD and make it work for format and stuff, because the format place is mostly where I've got problems to figuring why, but I think I know it right now. So this is my first video I made for my channel Mod-Heure, and like this one I said, you need some good solder skills to do this. I can't be held responsible for anything. Do it at your own risk. So I think it's pretty much everything inside, but solder skill, I've got to come back. You don't need that much solder skill, you just need probably more confidence than solder skill for that. But the thing is, make sure you've got a good solder iron. This is where it's gonna be. Everything's gonna lie into it, because a cheap one's gonna put your solder pad so much heat and you're not gonna be able to solder at the same time because they are cheap. So then you're gonna start burning your solder pad. So just make sure you have a good iron to do your stuff. Make your research on Google. I'm not gonna say that go buy an $100 iron, but don't go buy also a $5, $10, $20 cheap iron. Make a bit of money on it, or ask one of your friends, a technician who can do solder for you, and just show him where to do the solder point. So let's start it. So like I said, this was my video I made before. There's almost everything in it for the solder point. So now we're gonna talk about TSOP 1.0, 1.1. Do a solder bridge with the two pads near the R7D3 and R7R3 like this. So this is resistor 7D3 and resistor 7R3. So I'm gonna show you next where they are. Okay, so this is the BIOS chip, I'm pretty sure. You see the LPC debug here. So looking for those holes on your motherboard, and you're going to be right next to it. Okay, so this is the first point. So R7D3 is going to be near this area with your BIOS chip. Then you go on the other side. So this is R7, R3, and you see those same holes that you see the other side of the motherboard, they are here right now. So you do a solder bridge. One pad is here, one pad is here, and make sure to make it together. If you have a sharp TSOP on your Xbox version 1.0, 1.1, you will have to do a solder a wire between those 2 points to make able to flash it. There's a third wire you put in. If I remember right, if you recall it right, the third one is mostly for give some power to the chip. So yeah, so now for the sharp TSOP, you're gonna see it on the BIOS. It's gonna be sharp TSOP. Instead of that, you maybe need to do a BIOS checker. And also, I forgot to mention, at this point, when you TSOP your Xbox, make sure that it's already been soft modded. I personally recommend GC Rocky 5, his YouTube channel, GC Rocky 5. I gonna have all the links you need to download his DVD installation for soft mod, how to do it. So yeah, go check it out. So back to the Sharp. For the Sharp, you're gonna this is your like the holes as you see all the on the same on the both side of the motherboard, and this I guess it's underneath because you see here there's a pad to protect it from the shield box inside the Xbox. So yeah, you're gonna take this hole here and put a wire up to this here, just beside R7, R1, to make sure that your chip is gonna have power to flash it. So then 1.2 to 1.5, do a solder bridge with the two pads near the R7D2 and R7D10. So here, the same stuff I was talking before, the LBC debug, it's here. I'm gonna have holes, and this they all are on top of the motherboard, the two bridge you need to do. So one solder pad here, one solder pad here, and just bridge them together. And you're gonna also have R7D2, one solder pad here, one solder pad here, just bridge it together. Usually you can do it putting some enough soldering wire on it. I don't know what is the real name in English, but this is what you need to solder. It's a wire that you're gonna melt on top of your tip of your soldering iron. So yeah, if you put enough, you're gonna be able to bridge them together, no problem. Don't stay on the tip more than 10 seconds. Let it get colder, then restart it if you don't do it right. If you mess with it, you don't do your bridge right, it's actually not gonna flash your BIOS, but you can't miss it really. It's only if you it's only when you do those bridge right that you're gonna be able to flash it. And for those version 1.2 to 1.5, you're gonna have windbound BIOS, this one here. You're gonna have a Sharp, and you're gonna have Hynix. There's some different ways to flash those compared to 1.0 and 1.1. You're still gonna be able to flash it. You're still gonna have about the same way as those version, but windbound and Sharp are different. So just remember, if you have windbound or Sharp, you're gonna have to make sure you flash it the right way. So make sure that you know which version you have and which BIOS chip you have, and then with the disk, we're gonna be able to reflash this no problem. This one is 1.2 up to 1.4 or 5. On this one, I have a Hynix BIOS chip. Some other people are gonna have a windbound chip. Hynix and the windbound one is gonna be flashed differently. You need to go buy Gentox and make it flash from there. The other ones you can flash it directly from the Hexens DVD, which is a very good DVD. Like I said, up to now you need to be soft modded to be able to read the disk and then flash your BIOS. I recommend you to go to GC Rocky ROCKY5, which the guy is still working on soft modded Xbox. He still gives some updates on the programming, and he makes some rock solid work. Like the Chimp is done. I'm like, wow, so much easier to use than the Chimp before. So yeah, up to now, You see on this one here, let me zoom. I'm gonna zoom to the chip, the BIOS chip. There we go. So this here is my BIOS chip. It's a Hynix. It's easy. You just need a bit of soldering skill, at least a good solder, because this is probably the major problem is always a bad solder. You burn your soldering pads on your motherboard, so just make sure to invest on a good solder. It's going to be way more effective to do it than a solder at $5. I really recommend, as an electronician technician, I really recommend you to get just a good solder if you want to do this. So it's easy. Solder here and solder here. My solder is not very nice, but I know they're working, so I don't touch it, because you don't want to touch the solder pad too much. The fastest you can do it, the best it is. If it takes you more than 10 seconds, just let it stay. So the pad's gonna get to a normal temperature and do it again. See, if you do it like for too long, your pad's gonna burn. So you don't want that. You don't want to lose your Xbox because you burn your pad. But you're not gonna lose it, but you're not gonna be able to flash it. So yeah, so on this version, here and here. So we're back to the Xbox. I take the Hexens 2017 DVD to do this. I'm going to put the link inside my description. This mostly do everything from A to Z, almost everything. I make sure burn it with image burn, EMG burn, and make sure that you burned it at 4x speed maximum. I prefer to do 2x speed because it's easier, I think, for the DVD to pick it up. So here we go. We have the Hexens 2017 disc to flash your BIOS. Sorry for that. So I know I've got version 1.2. You can see it there on the right, and I have a Hynix BIOS chip. So those two information is going to tell me where to go. First of all, I'm just going to make sure I'm going to clean up everything, because this one is already done. Oh yeah, like I was saying before, at this point, make sure that you have a soft modded Xbox. First of all, because you're not going to be able to boot that disk. So from there, make sure of it. Probably also, if you have soft modded your Xbox, you probably have the original in stock DVD. So stick with this, and then we're gonna do the TSOP and then change the DVD. So yeah, clean up installation, clear cache, very important. Problem with your game starting, clear cache. Yesterday I have Tom and Jerry who didn't want to boot. I clear cache, it was booting right away. So just make sure to do that. And also you're gonna need to do this after a TSOP, after flash a chip. So you go here, and you're gonna have two options for flashing, and you're gonna have this one for disk upgrade. So you started by using one of those two. If you have a windbound or sharp flash, use 3.3. It's going to get you to Gentox, which is a Linux program, and it's going to flash your BIOS from there. I may do another tutorial showing that on other Xbox who had the windbound chip or a sharp one. But if you follow what they say, it's easy to do. Usually you boot windbound sharp flash. It's going to get you to the Gentox. Then you go from there. Before the timer goes out, you go up to the advanced feature, advanced app. From there you do flash BIOS, if I recall it right, HDD, and then he's gonna select the BIOS from the HDD and flash it. So like I said, mine is Hynix, so I'm gonna do it from 3.2. Use this to flash a non-bound win-bound TSOP or a mod chip. When evox launch, select your BIOS, chip size, and Xbox version, then select your preferred BIOS. Continue. Yes. So it's gonna install it on the hard drive, because you don't want to mess with the flash, so it's better to have all the information already on the drive, so then you make sure that your DVD doesn't mess up with your flash. So just wait for the installation files go in. So now we are into the Hexens flash BIOS. Like I said, it is some special BIOS chip gonna have bigger BIOS bank, but stick with 256. You make sure that everything is fine for all different BIOS. So click on it, and then you're gonna have to choose which BIOS you want to use. Like it's wrote on top, 1.0 to 1.5. You have independent BIOS, IND-BIOS 5003, FNG, F only, 5004, FNG, F only. The difference is 5004 has got a reset bug fix, 4 coin ups if I recall it right. X2 4981, FNG, F only, and Evox M8 plus FNG, F only. I think you should not go with Evox for a bigger hard drive, but maybe you know more than me on that. X2 is going to have a config file that you're going to be able to update it if I recall it right, but I've done it with independent BIOS. I know I've got the config file for it, so it's gonna do it. I don't need to reflash the Xbox. I just need to edit the config file to make it work. So I want a bigger Xbox drive, so F and G and press A. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this one, and all my videos from here is gonna be about this BIOS. So go. It's gonna flash. Now you have to press Y. It's gonna erase the BIOS. It's gonna flash the new one, and you see Hynix. I've got the shows, and the Xbox will. So it should look like that when you reboot it. You should see the logo with the other independent BIOS who's gonna be right underneath. The Hexens disk takes times to boot, so be patient. It's gonna tap and boot. So yeah, I'm back. So like I was saying, make sure that you're able to boot your DVD. I've got like 4 or 5 different installation disks. Sometimes some DVDs pick up on one better than the other one. So sometimes what I do is I put one is gonna pick up, and then boot the one I was working with from the one it pick up. It happens a lot of time. So I'm just gonna let it. So here we go. We are back here. So we TSOP. We flashed the BIOS with 3.2 or 3.3, depends which one you have, and we go and clear the cache. Make sure you do that, and clear installation files. I just do it to make sure, because I know it can mess with some booting, so I don't want to mess with this. Then go back to option 3 and do the chip flash Xbox disk upgrade and do clean C partition after TSOP flash. Okay, but yeah, I'm gonna do this. So the code is AYBX, enter. So it's just saying that up to now your Xbox is soft modded, and he's gonna remove all the soft mod and put clean C partition installation. From here, since you flash your Xbox, you're always gonna be able to restart a new hard drive with it. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna show you the rest after that. Do this to make sure your original HDD is made with the new config for TSOP. Okay, so at this point, let your original HDD in. Do this, and it's gonna remove everything. That's fine. Just wait for the installation to do. After that, you have two choices. Do a clone of your drive with Chimp, or put your new HDD drive in and start the Hexen disk, and is right at the start is gonna ask you, it's gonna tell you there's a new HDD, do you want to format it? You said yes, 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 and it's gonna do a fresh install, and you should be near where I'm gonna be at the end of this. If you do the Chimp, make sure you have the latest Chimp. I think it's 28 something 12 at the end. Make sure you have that, and it's gonna be good. There's also a tutorial. I'm gonna probably go to do one, but for now I'm sticking with just make sure a flash, your Xbox is flash, and it's gonna work with your big HDD, because that was my problem. IDE HDD, there's no problem. It's always the problem. It's always when you're gonna get higher in HDD size. Looks like easy on the net. I've made it a couple of times, but I can't figure out all the time where I go. Now I think I know everything. But like I said, feel free to leave me a comment on something new. So yeah, there's a clean partition installation after TSOP. Okay, we're just gonna go here, Xbox admin, File Explorer, here, and then we're gonna be here. So this is what is new inside the Xbox. We're gonna need to edit the independent BIOS later on, but for now, this is what is inside my Xbox. You see, it's already been formatted. I already have some drive on it, some game on it, but I'm gonna do everything from scratch. Everything. So let's say you have everything now on your original HDD, a new C partition. So the HDD is good for backup right now. What I recommend to do, put it out, put it in a new one HDD hard drive. I'm also gonna have to show you some good IDE to SATA adapter. Because you're gonna need one, and you're gonna need one who's gonna be able to support your Xbox. So I'm gonna show you some, probably gonna cut the video and show you some other stuff. So now you put out your old HDD, the original one, you put in your new one, you bought an adapter for it, and also you have to buy IDE AD wire adapter, and this is not optional. You need this because from the factory on the Xbox it's a 40 wire IDE cable, and you're gonna need a 80 wire IDE cable. This is very important, and I'm gonna give you a link for one of my video how to fold your new IDE to make it work inside your Xbox. So you have your adapter that I recommend, and you have your 80 wire IDE cable. Now what we're gonna do is you're gonna start your Xbox, start your Hexen, and you're gonna be at this menu with your new HDD drive, the big one. You're gonna go option 3, and you're gonna do chip flash Xbox disk upgrade, like that. Clean C partition after TSOP flash, it's done. But we can do it again just to make sure. This option, remove the soft mod and rebuild your C. No, we've done it. We've done it. And then we're gonna do new disk NTSC Xbox. I've got the NTSC. I'm from America. If you're from Europe, you probably have a PAL. Australia, I think it's PAL also. But yeah, make sure you have the right Xbox, right NTSC or PAL for your new disk. And if you're not sure, just check out one of your game. It's on the PS3, PS4, and anything. You're always going to be able to see that information on your game. So new disk NTSC Xbox. Do the code AYBX. Start. It's going to start. It's going to build a new disk from a TSOP chip. Also install the Crazy Endure game save, which gives you a backdoor in case your mod chip fell. Once XB partitioner 1.3 launch, use it to format F and G. Okay, do it. Okay. And when XB partitioner load, press back for help. Press A to cycle between the standard layout. F up to 137 gig. All F up to 107 gig remain in G, or F and G 50/50. And this is where it is going to be tricky. I'm going to show you something later on to make sure that it's format at the right way, because this is where I mostly have problems. Once you have selected your preferred layout, XB partitioner, press start to write the partition table to the disk, or press back twice to quit. Continue. If your Xbox is soft modded, this will remove your soft mod and no longer be able to boot the disk. This disk. All existing data on your hard drive will be deleted. From here, we already have flashed the BIOS, so we're good. We can always start fresh install with a flash Xbox. Yes. So when you start the Hexen disk and you have a new HDD, this probably is supposed to be the screen you see first. So what you do, press bolt trigger and start button to continue. Bolt trigger, start, bolt trigger, start. It's gonna format everything. Do you have a F drive? Press bolt trigger and start to format it. Yes, I have one. Do you have a G drive? Yes. Right trigger format. Because I have a G drive because I'm mostly over like 137 gig. So Unleash has finished. Prepare your new drive. Press both trigger and start to continue. So it's gonna install everything. So we're back to the XB partitioner 1.3 LB48 patch version 3. Our independent BIOS flash support LB48 for bigger drive. So I already done this format before, so it's already 50/50. As you see here, 229 gigabyte and 229 gigabyte, 16 cluster size and 16 cluster size. From there, what I read before, it's maybe you need to just do start first and format as it show you to format. But I'm gonna show you a different way to make sure it's formatted. I asked the question to GC40 Rocky 5, GC Rocky 5, and he told me that Chimp always format your hard drive will. So I'm just gonna press start and format it. You can also do A to cycle through the format size for each partition. So I'm just gonna do start and Y, and it's gonna write my partition. But you see, it didn't say format F and format G. It's supposed to say that when it formats, but he doesn't want to do it. It's already done, I think. So I'm just gonna stick that way and show you the other way to do it to make sure. So back and back. Wait a bit. Your Hexens CD is gonna boot after a while. And we're back to Hexens CD. So, like always, clear cache. I don't know if it's necessary, but I do it all the time. It takes 15 seconds of your time, so. Well, so we've done a new installation from here. New disk NTSC RPAL, depends where you're from. And we are at this menu right now, and we're gonna do I think it's install application. Install application to E. It's gonna install XB partitioner, XB DVD to Xbox, and config magic. Yes. Perfect. Install Chimp. Yes. And next, install XBMC to E. And this is where it's going to be installed. App XBMC, and install the XBMC shortcut. If you already have XBMC installed, you will override it. So yes. So this is going to take a while though. So just wait to it to finish. We're just gonna be back soon. So, XBMC is now installed. Again, clear cache. Okay, and clean up installation file. Okay. From there, we're gonna go at Xbox admin, file explorer. If you go on E, on C, I want to say it's there's your BIOS config right there. You're gonna need to change. So if you do clear button and you go here, switch to FTP browser. No, sorry. Open with text document, text editor. This is what you're gonna have on your config. And if you go at the bottom, you're gonna see the dash who's gonna be boot first. So -1, -2, -3, DVD. So here's the thing. Partition 2 is your partition C. And partition 1 is your partition E. So you want to change that, right? Because you want to boot on my end. I want to boot to XBMC all the time. I prefer that one. So I'm gonna tell him not to boot on 2. Okay, so then I press clear to make this app open. So I move inside this with my directional pad, and I take my left thumbstick to change this here. So I want it to boot at partition 1. Okay. After that, it's app folder. So you put partition 1 like that, and you do apps. because I'm gonna show him where to go look for my default.xbe. So apps, like that. Then this again. Then oops, sorry, I messed with it. Apps, then XBMC, then this again, and I need to call it default. So I'm going to go there, XXXXXXX. Oops. Make sure you go get your letters with the left thumbstick. So default whoops, I missed a U. Default LT.xbe, and then I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna say partition 2 and give the old shortcut for it, partition 2, and then it was unleash x.xbe, so like this here. So it's gonna first boot and look for this file, default XBE, to start XBMC. If you don't see it, it's gonna start with on the C and check for unleash.xbe. If it doesn't see, it's gonna look for evolution dash. And if you don't see nothing, it's gonna look for the default XBE. That's why when you put a DVD and you don't have nothing on your hard drive, it's gonna boot, because at the fourth time it's gonna look for your DVD. So this is done. So I press select. You have made change to your document. Do you want to save the change? Yes. Just gonna make sure that everything is nice. Evox XBE is here. So this was my second dashboard he was looking for. And if I go back to E, apps, XBMC, default XBE, whoops, I press on it. Sorry for that. But still, it's good. We're gonna see Xbox Media Center running. So much nicer. So yeah. So if I go back here, I go to File Manager, C drive, this, but here I can edit it, but like I said, we've done the change. So from now on, it's gonna always try to boot from there. So you can also go check for apps here, but it doesn't show nothing. So File Manager, and we're going to format it with Chimp right now. So File Manager, E drive, apps, Chimp, default.xbe. This is the executor for Xbox. So we're gonna start that. Probably so yeah, Chimp is booting. I don't know if it's gonna stick with it. I press enter, and this is where we go with Chimp. Also, if you TSOP your Xbox, it's gonna be about the same program. It's gonna rock. So as you see here, it's Rocky 5 HD2, like the one I was talking about on his YouTube channel, GC Rocky 5. Go check his channel. He's rocking the Xbox right now. So I don't have a stuff modded Xbox. I have a TSOP chip Xbox. So option 3, A, yes, A, yes, A, and I'm gonna scan just to make sure. So I've got my master drive, which is my hard drive, with the model number, and it's unlocked. I always leave my HDD unlocked for TSOP mod chip Xbox. You don't need to lock it, and you're always going to be able to use it anywhere else after that if you don't want it anymore in your Xbox. So okay, master drive options here, format extended partition, and you're gonna have different one here, and F is capped at 137, F takes all the place, G space beyond 137, or F and G split space evenly. This is what I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take F and G split space evenly. Confirm format, yes. It's gonna format it. As you see, it's kind of it's a Linux. It's kind of a DOS right now. It's gonna do everything for me. Cluster size 163384, and here my partition. So partition 5 and partition 6 is 16 cluster file size. Partition information again. So right now we should be good. Go back, other option, and reboot. So now we TSOP it, we put a clean installation for the hard drive, for the dashboard. We change the config file to make sure it's gonna point out to our XBMC dashboard. We format it with the XB partitioner, but like I said, make sure I use Chimp. What GC Rocky 5 tell me, that is always 100% success rate. So I'm gonna stick with that. So I'm gonna do a reboot. Yes. It doesn't reboot. I push. So yeah, it's restarting. It's so fast that you don't have the time to see the second independent BIOS load in. It's already on XBMC. So we're gonna go to File Manager here, and here's our 2 new drive. From there, they say to make sure to transfer a little file text and check out for the size of the HDD. But for this, you need to go one of your Unleash X dashboard, and you're gonna have way better info on it. So like I said, go to your Unleash X dashboard. You're gonna be able to see more numbers for your partition. So if you look at F and G, you can see they are 0303. If you transfer a text file is going to be about what, 1 kilobyte, and but since it's 16 cluster size or 32 cluster size or 64 cluster size, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that, but if you have 0 to 250 gigabytes is going to be 16 cluster. 250 to 500, 32K cluster. 500 to 1 terabyte, 64K cluster. So if you just transfer a little file text of 1 kilobyte, you're gonna actually get rid of 16 kilobyte every time, because if your file is 1 to 16, it's gonna take 16 kilobyte of space on your hard drives. That's why sometimes you think you have less space than actually you have on your hard drive, because if you transfer a lot of small size, it's still gonna take 16 or 32 or 64. Anyway, so just make a test like that, and I'm gonna show you the next one. I'm gonna show you how to finish your installation with some little stuff, FTP and stuff. So thanks. Hope this video helped you out. I had a lot of questions before. I think I've answered mostly of my question, and I'm always open for good comments and some good tricks and good information from you guys, because I know there's people over there that know so much stuff. I can know everything. I don't want to be somebody who know everything, so like I said, feel free to give me comments, tips and stuff. But this is A to Z TSOP independent BIOS with the 500 gigabytes SATA hard drive. So make sure to check out my next video if you want to continue and have some stuff to check out. Thank you. Have a good day.